Hello, in this C programming video, I am going to show you for loops. So for loops basically allow you to run a piece of code over and over again. You might be thinking, why would you want to do that? Let's just quickly write a little line of code. Let's say if I have printf and I want to write hello world, for example, per \n, save that, run it, you'll print off hello world. Pretty simple stuff, nothing very complicated here. What if I want to do it 5 times? I mean, it's not too difficult, just do that, boom, there we go. You'll print it out 5 times, as you'll be able to see now. And if it's made this bit bigger, you'll be able to see it. But what if you wanted to do it like 1,000 times? I don't know about you, but I don't want to be copying and pasting this 1,000 times. Hell no. So what we can do is, if we get rid of these, we can put it in what's called a for loop. So the syntax for this is you put the keyword for, open parenthesis, and then you have 3 main parts here. The first part is any variable setup. So this is usually like an index, a counter, if you will, and very commonly you'll put something like int I equals 0 and semicolon. Now is the condition. So whilst this condition is true, you will run this loop. So let's say whilst I is less than 1,000. So once it's above 1,000, we don't want it to run anymore. And the last part is any piece of code that you want to run at essentially at the end of each iteration, each cycle of the loop. And usually what you would put is something like I++, that just increases I by 1. You put I minus minus, decreases I by 1, and that would be more useful if you had something like this, for example, and the while is greater than 0. And you can do that, and that's extremely useful if, for example, you have an array or some sort of collection of items and you want to loop through it. You might want to loop through in reverse order or front order. That's what's that is useful for. I'll keep it simple. Open and close curly braces, and in here, whatever code you put in there, put as many lines of code as you want. That is what will get run 1,000 times. So let me run this. Give it a save. Give it a play. So let's run it, and there's obviously a lot of hello world. Let's go a little step further. Let's put hello world. Let's say if I put dash, and then I'm going to format this. I'm going to put %i, and I'm going to put I here. So that means you'll print out the index. That'll help us see a lot easier what's being printed out. So 999. And if we go up, we can see all the way to 0. So because we started at 0, if we wanted to print it as 1 to 1,000 instead of 1 to 999, still run 1,000 cycles. But if we wanted to do that, we could either change that to 1 and let's say do less than or equal to, or another way, pretty common, is just to do like I+1 here, for example. Give it a run, and there we go. That's really nothing more to it than that. Obviously, you can create variables, outside of it, use them inside of it. That's fine. Any changes in here to variables outside, stay permanent. So if I have, let's say, int num1 and I make a change in here, it will be affected outside. But as with any sort of curly braces, due to variable scope, if I create any new variables here, it won't be usable anywhere else. Like this I, if I try and use it here by putting like I semicolon, it'll give me an error. It says I is not declared. It's not declared because this I that we've created only belongs to this for loop. So we could create another for loop like this, for example. And usually, if you had 2 variables with the same name, they wouldn't work. But with this, and obviously this is run 2 lots of it. There we go. I think there's been a bit too much for the actual terminal to handle. But in terms of scope, that's how it works. So that's how the variables work. You generally do use integers. Some people might be use short int, depending on how many times you are running it. So that's it. Great for printing, running multiple lines of code. You can make each line a bit more dynamic by doing stuff like this, where it's not just the exact same line. You can do some sort of calculations. You can do all sorts of stuff. As an extra task, this is what I want you to do. I want you to print out from, let's say, 0 to 1,000, or 0 to 999, or 1 to 1,000, doesn't really matter, the square of each of those numbers. So 0 will come to 0 squared, which is 0. 1 will be 1 squared, which is 1. 2 will be 2 squared, which is 4. 3 will be 3 squared, which is 9. 4 will be 4 squared, which is 16, etc., etc. I want you to do that, and I want you to use the for loop. Because, you know, if you wanted to do it up to 5, you could do it yourself manually. Just do 5, 6 printfs, not an issue. If you want to do up to 1,000, I don't know. I feel like somebody might actually do 1,000 lines, but, you know, don't. That's not what I'm expecting you to do. Use a for loop, and well, get that done. So that's for loops. If you have any questions, feel free to join the Discord group. There's a link in the description, and you can post on the programming channels. Hopefully you've been enjoying the daily tips and tricks, little shorts videos I've been doing. NFT and crypto stuff. There's some more, you know, NFT and, you know, crypto stuff that I want to do. I'll probably do, you know, the difference between an ERC20 and ERC721 token next. And I've got some VS Code videos that are, you know, short tips and tricks that I'll be uploading afterwards. So hopefully you've been enjoying them. Feel free to make a request, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.